Welcome to Parenting 911, the lived experience podcast where real parents share real stories.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Parenting 911 Lived Experience podcast. And we're glad to see you back. Please make sure you subscribe and follow us because we're just talking about life. We're talking about the life of families, whether it's parents or grandparents, foster parents, step parents, the life of families and how we can make things a little smoother for all of us because we've got to understand how to be more successful, the entire family. So, I want to ask you just a little question. Here is one. Has anybody out there who's just had a baby ever had any problem getting the baby to go to sleep? I bet so, because that's a part of new motherhood, and babies need some help sometimes. So today, we are going to answer some of your questions, get you put on the right track, and hopefully help you get some sleep during this time with the baby. We have with us the amazing and beautiful Nesta Lumpkin. And guess what? She is the baby sleep coach. So come on, you need to give her, yeah, her props right now. Those of you who haven't slept in days, you're going to want to hear what Nesta has to say. Welcome, Nesta.
Hi, Frazelma. Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. It's amazing to have you here because we just want to talk about things that parents need. And trust me, if they have just had a baby, they need some sleep. So, what I'm going to do is allow you to introduce yourself, tell us about you, give us a little bio, and then we'll start the interview.
Yes, I am Nesta Lumpkin, and I am a baby sleep coach and the founder of Baby Sleep Accelerator, the coaching program. I also wrote the book, Baby Sleep Accelerator, to help parents get their babies to sleep through the night so you don't have to waste time on ineffective methods. You can get a solution faster than you would think. And I am a mom of three, married, and I have a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 5-year-old. So I have been in the trenches just like new moms who had a hard time with their baby not sleeping well. I experienced that 3 times, but me and my husband, we got in the trenches and we figured it out. And we found out what worked fastest. And so I documented all that process and put it in the coaching program. So we've had experience of successfully putting our girls to sleep 8,000 times over the years. And so when I tell you I have the reps, I have the reps. So that's what I show parents what to do now. I show you how you can cut down your time from struggling with having your baby not sleep through the night for months. Instead of doing that, you can cut that down to a few days or just a few weeks. You can bypass a lot of the exhaustion and frustration that a lot of new parents feel. And that's why I'm here to help.
Wow, wow. That 8,000 times over that is what got me. And that comes from documentation. That is amazing. Um, yeah, we don't think about things like that. We don't think about documenting those types of things. That was mind blowing. One of those like, oh my gosh. All right, so we're gonna jump right in. I have a few questions that we're going to ask. Let's start with this one. Exactly what all does the baby coach do for the parents?
So the baby sleep coach comes in, and what I do is I virtually hold your hand because my sessions are virtual over Zoom or on the phone. And I walk you through the process The postpartum period is really tough on a lot of parents, especially if you're a new mom or first time mom. And so I cut down that time based on my experience. And we're in the coaching session, people are asking questions. I can better steer you in the direction to set your baby up for healthy sleep habits. I've seen a lot of different examples. I've coached a lot of parents across the country, and everyone likes to say, "Oh, my baby is unique, my situation is unique." And it is, but there are certain things that a baby needs, which is certain things like love, right? You know this, but there are certain ways you can put it together to make sure that you are getting the max out of your experience with your baby. And so I show you how to maximize your time. I show you how to maximize your bedtime routine. Let's say you have a baby monitor and you're watching your baby, which is good, but I show you how to best use that baby monitor so your baby can sleep better and that you don't have to go in and physically be there every single time your baby needs to go back to sleep just by using your monitor. And that's what I show people. And it's fast and effective. So, having a coach is like if you want to get fit, right? And you want to get healthy, you can read a book, you can watch videos, it may work. But if you hire like a personal trainer, that would be me in the example for, just using that. If you hired a baby sleep coach, you would get the results way faster than if you went alone by yourself. So that's my role as a baby sleep coach to cut down the wasted time, the loss of money and stress and all that would cut that down.
All right. Oh, wow. So let me first apologize. I said baby coach. I meant baby sleep coach. Um, now, so you talked about a bedtime routine or just a sleeping maybe pattern or routine. Tell
Mhm.
us a little bit more about that. And the reason I say that is because with Parenting 911, we are teaching parents how to be more structured at home. And in that structure, of course, they need rules, but they also need routines, just morning routines to help everyone get ready for school, afternoon routines for when the children get home from school, and night routines. So, because you mentioned bedtime routines for these newborns, talk a little bit more about that.
All right, so you mentioned newborns specifically. So a newborn is not going to sleep through the night until they're around 4 months old. So let's just get that clear. So I'm not saying, oh, I can get your newborn to sleep the first day you get them home. No, because they biologically need to eat round the clock. However, you can start setting up healthy sleep habits. So you can start that from day one. And we build on that in the coaching program so you can bypass a lot of the headaches, whether your baby has colic, whether your baby has acid reflux, whether your baby is just fussy or going through a growth spurt. We can handle that. We can get through that the best way possible instead of just winging it or waiting and see. And
Mhm.
a lot of parents, they're like, well, I follow a routine. I follow this other program and it's so strict. And I take logs and I write down everything and it's still not working. And that's where I come in. I'm not following someone's theory. I'm not following what I read somewhere in a book. I'm following what works. And I'm telling you, after 8,000 times, do the math. I have 3 children and putting 3 children to bed every single night for a decade and less, did the math, and it's a lot. So I can tell you having a routine is great. And whether you like it or not, you do have a routine, even if you're just winging it, that's your routine.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
so I show parents there's a middle ground of having a routine, being consistent, but a bigger part of that is being flexible. You're like, that doesn't even make sense. How can you have a routine and still be flexible? That's what being a mom is. That's what being a dad is. Because life is gonna happen. And can you teach someone how to be flexible? Yes.
Absolutely.
So that's
Yeah.
what I show parents.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, just like you can teach someone um, to have that rigid routine, you can teach them to be flexible. That's good. So how does the sleep deprivation affect the parents, especially working parents, because people are, I understand they're off for so many weeks, but then when they go back to work, how does that sleep deprivation affect how they function?
All right, so sleep deprivation is pretty much when you are deprived of sleep.
Mhm.
And when you have a new baby, because they have to constantly eat around the clock, most times someone has to be there to feed them, and most times it's the mom, right? Whether you're breastfeeding or formula feeding, it's still a process where you're up constantly throughout the day, throughout the night. If you definitely don't have support helping you and you're doing it by yourself, it makes it even worse. So imagine you have a baby, your hormones are all over the place, you're trying to recover, you're trying to manage your household, you're trying to maintain your relationship with your spouse, with your other relatives, your in-laws are in town, grandma's there. You're dealing with so many things all at once, and you're not sleeping, you're not getting your 7 to 8 hours of sleep, nonstop sleep. So over time, your body will break down, your mental capacity to handle life is like hindered because you are not getting enough sleep. Sleep is like an elixir of health, good health. It's a
Mm,
foundation, right? Our bodies are built to rest, and when you don't get enough rest, it affects everything,
everything. Hmm.
right? Right? And the older you get, the worse it is if you don't get enough sleep. And so if you're planning on going to work is like a full time, it sucks up your whole time, right? When you're there. And sometimes when you're not there on the clock. So imagine going to work on 2 hours or 3 hours of sleep. You will not, but depending on what kind of work you're doing too, like if you're handling heavy machinery, for example, if you're in the medical field, would you like someone to stick you with a needle who slept 2 hours at night, or do you want someone who slept 8 hours at night? And when you have a baby, the world doesn't care whether you have a baby and can't sleep. They expect you to function at 100% when you're at work. So people can mess up their relationships. Your job can suffer if you are trying to climb up the corporate ladder, if you're not sleeping well and you're just not performing at your best. That can be an adverse effect. Now, when it comes to your body and your health, like lack of sleep is a bad mix for so many things, and it can cause like the likelihood of you getting like heart disease goes up, diabetes, cancer, like all the big diseases go up. Like the chances of you getting them without sleep goes up. And then if you don't want to spiral into postpartum depression, one of the key factors is getting more sleep. So the lack of sleep can be very bad.
Wow, wow, wow. I was going to ask you a question about relationships and do the poor sleeping patterns affect it, but you've already kind of brought that in and mentioned that if we don't get enough sleep, it's going to affect even the relationships that we have.
Can I tell you which relationship it affects a lot?
Please.
Husband and wives.
Oh, wow, yes.
Because if the baby's in the bed, you are not getting intimate, right?
Wow, yeah.
And for some women, when you have a baby, being intimate with your husband, having sex is not on your mind, it's not a top priority. But for your husband,
It still is.
yeah, it still is. It could be a big priority,
Yeah.
right? So if the baby is in your bed, for example, a lot of people are co-sleeping or bed sharing, putting their baby in the bed. Co-sleeping, if your baby's in a crib in your room, that's better, right? That's
Mhm.
more safer. It's safer and more healthy for the baby too. But if your baby's in the bed with you, that's a no-go zone for your husband, and then that can cause tension in the relationship. And if you don't work on balancing that out, it could just be detrimental for your marriage.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, because sometimes moms lose focus on the marriage once the baby comes home. And it's just all about the baby and not about the spouse, not about the husband. So yeah, that was really good. If the baby is in the bed, yeah, and actually that interrupts your sleep even more because you're constantly waking and looking and checking. So yeah, wow. It does affect the relationships. Now, um, what is a myth that most of us have? Like here in the Black culture, what would be a myth that we have about babies not sleeping at night? I've heard, little things throughout my years, like you don't feed a baby much at night, some would say. But I've also heard others say, oh, yeah, you want to give the baby a full bottle at night, they're going to sleep longer. What are some of the myths that you've heard, especially in our Black culture, that would affect how the mom handles the sleep patterns?
Well, it's not really, I don't know if it's a myth, but a lot of parents, especially in our community, they're like, yeah, I'll just wing it. I'll just ride it out. My baby's gonna sleep eventually, right? So part of that, yes, it's a myth and you can ride it out, but it's just that it could take 2 years, 3 years.
Right,
Like,
right.
do you want to ride it out? Something that can be solved in like a week? And you make the investment and start sort it out in a week and you have like a
Mhm.
smooth ride into toddlerhood, or do you want to just ride it out and see what happens, and your child is 5 years old and they're still not sleeping well. And so that's something that I hear a lot. Another thing that I hear a lot is, oh yeah, my baby is breastfeeding, or they need to wake up in the middle of the night, and I need to feed them every single time they wake up. So your baby is 12 months old and waking up 5 times at night, and you're feeding them 5 times at night. You don't have to do that, right? Um, if your baby is well fed during the day, you don't need to get up and feed them at night once they're past the 4 month mark.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Okay,
those are
that
two big myths.
okay, that and I'm glad you said beyond that 4 month mark, because that was also a question about why do some babies still wake up 4 or 6 times per night after a certain age. So yeah, I'm glad you kind of mentioned that there is something we can do to help them sleep throughout the night. Actually, that's a milestone for babies too, to be able to sleep throughout the night. Um, oh wow. So if there's a parent watching, a mom who is in tears right now because they have not slept in the past 4 months, 5 months, maybe 6 months, what is something you would share with them to do?
If you are struggling right now and you're frustrated, get help, right? So it's okay to ask for help. You are not a failure. If you realize like, hey, I'm supposed to know how to do this, how to get my baby to sleep, but I don't think I do, right? I don't have a good handle on this. So it would be great if you joined my Baby Sleep Accelerator coaching program. But if not, just get the right help. There are tons of information online that have different price ranges. You can get that information and get some tips to help. But talk to people who are close to you. Let them know, like, hey, I'm struggling in this area. Community helps. So don't be isolated because you feel like I'm a failure, my baby's not sleeping, and this is so simple. I should know how to do this. Get community, hire a coach to help you, and the right one, because not all coaching programs are built the same. And if you need to talk to someone, definitely you can reach out to me you can go on Instagram at Nesta Lumpkin, on YouTube at Baby Sleep Accelerator, and TikTok at Baby Sleep Accelerator. So I offer free strategy sessions with parents. So if you want to come on a strategy session with me just to see if this is for you, if we're the right fit, I highly recommend it. I love what I do. I love bringing moms out of the darkness into the light because it's some easy things that you can do. And yes, after the free strategy session, you can decide to join the program. I have a book you can buy and read. You can get the audio book as well. But I firmly believe, and I also have a community that you can join, but I firmly believe if you want immediate help, the one-on-one coaching with me is the best route.
All right. Wow. I'm sure that somebody watching needs immediate help, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody's who watches, they haven't slept in a while. Their relationships are falling apart. And I'm so happy that you said if they think that they need to do this by themselves, do you know we don't have to do any of this by ourselves?
And can I also add, I
Sure.
spoke to a mom recently, a few days ago, and she was struggling, right? But a lot of moms think they can do this by themselves. Like it's just something I need to fix because this is a sleep issue. I'm the mom. I'm supposed to be the one to fix this with my baby. But in my program, I actually incorporate dads as well because they have innate ability and giftings that God put in them to help your baby sleep so easily. Like I mentioned before, it was me and my husband that figured these things out. And so I incorporate the dads. So don't think, mom, that you have to go through this alone. Even if you can't find your voice right now, I will help you in the session. I will help bring the dad to the same like page as you so he could see the bigger picture for his family and why this is a good investment, not just for you to get your sanity back, but for the future health of the children, the relationship that he has with you and his children. So, yeah, I do a lot of heavy lifting for you in the strategy sessions, during the coaching sessions. So you don't have to go through this alone. Dads can get involved, and I will show the dads how they can do that and help you.
Oh, that is excellent. That is excellent. I remember our first grandchild. Now, we are grandparents of nine grandchildren with a 10th one on the way. And I remember our first grandchild. So I went for all of them. I would try to be there when the grandchildren were born. The very first one I went and I helped them set up a routine so that neither would kind of try to put all on either, but that they would work together. And it was very helpful for them because sometimes we don't think about simple things like just creating a routine. And that helped them be able to move forward. Somebody, get sleep and then switch over, and somebody else gets a chance to sleep. It worked out really well for them. Now, I needed your services then too, but I knew that organization and a pattern, a routine would be helpful for them. So that really works out great. Now, you've told us how to get in touch with you. You've told us about your book. How would they get your book?
Oh, the book is available on Amazon. So you can go on Amazon and search Baby Sleep Accelerator or my name, and you'll get the option to get the paperback, the audiobook, or the ebook. And so you have options because I know a lot of people may not be able to read, but you can listen. And
Yes,
there you go.
absolutely. All right. So, Nesta, somebody listening right now, you might have just caused them to dry up their tears and to know, oh, I don't have to do this by myself. I can get help. I can go to Nesta, or she says, find somebody near that can help out because we do tend to think that we have to do everything by ourselves. We also fool ourselves to think that other people are judging everything we do. And you mean you don't even know how to get your baby to sleep? We've got to stop worrying about what others say and get the help we need, regardless of what that help might be. So I really have enjoyed talking to you about the baby coaching the baby sleep coaching. I said it right that time. The baby sleep coaching. Um, all of us need rest. How can we be the best for our babies or for each other or on our jobs if we don't have enough rest? So it is important for us to know in those years when we have young children how to get them to rest so we can rest. Um, yeah, we need it. Definitely, we need it. Grandparents tend to think they know, either know everything, which that's a myth, or they tend to think that the moms don't need them. But we do need to step in and help out as well, if at all possible. Sometimes I know it's distance or whatever, but we still need to try to help. So thank you so much for giving us this information. Um, I need to talk about our sponsors for just a second. The first sponsor, of course, is Parenting 911, and we rescue childhoods. We help build relationships with families within the family unit. We help parents understand structure, rules, routines, just like with baby sleep. Rules and routines. We help them understand discipline is not punishment. They are two different things. We also talk about respectful communication and how to keep that going even through the teenage years and into adult years. So we try to help parents with each level on how to do things a little bit better so that the family can stay bonded together and be successful. You can go to parenting911.org. For our second sponsor, it is Emotions You Know, and it is the new game that's going viral to help all of us learn how to share our feelings with one another. It is a game that you play similar to Uno, but it is having fun sharing your stories, your life stories with your children and with others, and allowing your children the opportunity to share their life stories with us. You can go to emotionsyouknow.com. All right, Nesta, we have enjoyed you tremendously. Is there any last word that you would like to say as we close out this session?
Yes, you definitely can get help with your baby sleeping. I have had so many successful clients. Their babies are sleeping better at least the first night, the second night, in under a week, their babies are sleeping through the night. So if you want to get that help, definitely reach out to me. Again, you don't have to do this alone and you can get help.
Excellent, excellent. And I'm sure they will reach out because they need the help. They want to sleep too. All right, everyone. We look forward to you coming back, joining us on the next session. Tell somebody about what we're doing. We're just talking about family life. See you next time.